It's so good to see you. Are you feeling grateful? Yes. Please welcome our Spirit in Motion dancers and our Sound of Light choir.
Good afternoon. SLCA. Spiritual family. Remember what God has said. Intentional behavior. Yeah. Gratitude. Whatever on the grind, it all overshine. Love and respect myself in time. Value my life, family and dreams. I'm on intentional behavior to change some things. I'm on intentional behavior to teach you behavior. I'm on intentional behavior to change some things. I'm on intentional behavior to change some things. I was told one truth to speak from my heart. Sometimes it's hard, yet necessary. I might be scared, but I ain't gotta act scary. Take a step, knowing I am not alone, because of one with the most high and my ancestors with me. So I don't feel empty, full of life, plus recognize my purpose. Intentional behavior, I know that I'm worth it. Reminding myself I'm complete, whole and perfect, on my way to the promised land, knowing I deserve it. And if it's gonna be, it's up to me. Legacy building in 2023, I got my eyes on the prize and I realize it's mine. See, they gave it the beginning. I'm just winning. I can see it. I'm just winning. Forever on the grind, it all will shine. Love and respect myself in time. Value my life, family and dreams. I'm on intentional behavior to change some things. I'm on intentional behavior to teach you the way. I'm on intentional behavior to change some things. I'm on intentional behavior to teach you the way. I'm on intentional behavior to change some things. I ain't developing phenomenal skill, phenomenal will. For a time such as this right here, don't even fear. Getting out of here, serving up the opposite. Thinking myself is where the profit is. Baba Akbar was sharing regardless. Stay positive. This ground man's plan is full of some I can, I will, and I must. Shout out to ET as an indirect NT. Discovering more truth to set myself free. Inside and out, learn to speak with no doubt. Making music will change some things. Can't stay the same no more. That's why my mind can't be bold. Cause I'm rich in my soul. Reassuming who I am. So much more than a wall. I'm a problem solver. What's it like with ballers? My ammo's knowledge when I promise power. Like my words coming through the wild of energy and expressing with G.O.D. Forever on the line, it all will shine. Love and respect myself in time.
Again, my name is Duzzy. I'm so happy to be here. Thank y'all for having me today. Before I share this song, they asked me to share this song specifically, so I said, okay. This is a song that I wrote. It's called Sweet NYE, and I would like to share with you specifically this morning the song. I wrote this song during the pandemic, and it was meant to be a parallel after I started learning about dandelions. Did y'all know they was flowers? I didn't know they was flowers. I'm for real. I thought that they was weeds because every time when I was growing up, they said, get them weeds out the yard. And what I learned was weeds are just anything that is undesired or unwanted. Dandelions are actually a flower that provide not just much for the earth itself, the ground, but also for humanity. People have used it for centuries to make tea and all these things. And I was learning about that. I said, what? And so, yeah, I wrote this song after I was reading this book, and I saw this. I got fixated on this part where the author was describing dandelions, and I was like, wow. And it was right around the time Ahmaud Arbery had been gunned down here in Georgia. And I was like, I wonder, this must be what it feels like, specifically it's evident I'm a black man. But I drew a parallel between what it's like to be a black man living in here. But this song is for not just me, but it's for anybody who has felt unwanted or undesired, and for you to be encouraged to know that you are actually beautifully and wonderfully made, and that you are seen, you are wanted, you are desired, and so shine bright, shine long, shine big, because your impact, you just sang intentional behavior. We have to be intentional about our presence, about the passion of our emotions, and our purpose. Okay? So I want to share this with you. It's called Sweet NYE. Only to be cut down and tossed with the bitter leaves. Take my petals, cut me down, bring me on the good I bring, 'cause all I am is what you see. See my color shining as the sun. Digging deeper into from where I've come. The waiting whispers of the wind, out of place, unwanted, I'm lost in the world of your sin. to a wave, only to fade in a place settled in. On sweet dandelion, offering itself and to grow fully again.
He's on his way to New York City. Bless him on his way. Catch that airplane. So honored to be here. Tries again. There was a time in my life when I thought I'd have to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. Amen. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But I can say if you are discouraged, just trying to make it through another day, you gotta let it go. Let it all go. And this is what you got to say. Come on now. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Come on now. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. Amen. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yeah. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Come on, go round. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. I hear you, yeah. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for That is our liturgy, isn't it? Yeah. Music of Ricky Byers. Thank you so much. I am light, I am light. I am light, I am light. I
divine power, the source that is back of all creation, we know that we are indeed one with it. This power, this presence is in the midst of our very being, the Spirit of the living God. And so we move this day into a new beginning, a new place, a new time, a new start. And we bring with us every predecessor, every person that has made the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta a reality for 44 years. And we will continue with our purpose, our mission, and our vision. For we know that we belong right here and now. And I am so grateful for our sister community for sharing their space with us. And just like their symbol, the mystical phoenix, we too rise above, aflame with this divine light. And I truly am grateful. I'm grateful that Reverend David's message is going to fall on receiving ears and open hearts, for I know that he is filled with that power and that presence. And I am grateful that there's a power in this universe that hears me and hears me always. And with that, I can release it into this immaculate law, knowing that it is already an established fact in the mind of God. And please join me in sealing this prayer by saying, and so it is. And so it is.
Lighting the flames of faith. A call to service. perform the ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence which we call Spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. We recognize the candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We recognize the candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous people, the way of the primal spirituality. We recognize the candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We recognize the candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We recognize the candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We recognize the candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We recognize the candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We recognize the candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We recognize the candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. As we recognize the healing candle, please put silently in the light the name of anyone you wish to experience the healing flame of God's eternal love.
And so it is. Good afternoon. Come on, we can do better than that. Good afternoon. There you are, Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. Hey. It's good to see you. Good to be seen. Amen. How about some hand to all the background staff, our music team, our sound and engineering team. We've redone everything for you, the order of service and the elements that you're visually seeing and hearing and experiencing, and this is the beginning of a wonderful new chapter in our history, which I'll talk more about in the message in just a few moments. But I want to first thank you all for being here today. My name is David Alexander. I'm the spiritual director here. My pronouns are he and his. And today we're launching our series on self-care. The power and the value of self-care as spiritual practice. And so first, as I get into that, and we'll introduce people who are here for the first time and all of that a little bit later, but I do want to honor some special guests. I know We have a seat for you right up here, but I know you're in the back there somewhere. Pastor D.E. Polk is here from Spirit and Truth Sanctuary. Yes. Amen. You can stay there or come down, whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do. Listen, I know you preached this morning, so look at him, making the run. Got the Pentecostal run. Don't you start nothing now. Don't you start nothing now. We love you. We love you. Happy birthday to your father. His father, 85 years old. 85 today, or was it Friday? Friday officially. Yeah, good. I might have you say a word, but I know you preached this morning, so you won't want to sit in the back, because that afternoon nap comes hard for preachers. It comes hard. About 3 o'clock. It's at dinner, talking with family every 3 o'clock. Just out. Get yourself adjusted a little bit. We're glad you're here today. Welcome. I want you to know the Polk family and Spirit and Truth Sanctuary and all of its iterations over 50 years of ministry in the greater Atlanta area. They have been a champion of inclusion and love and expansion of consciousness in many different ways through their existence and expression. And the last several years under the leadership of D.E. Polk, and we love you. We're grateful for you. And now that we're in the afternoon, you're going to see me on Sunday mornings, and maybe they're going to see you on Sunday afternoons up here. You know, we'll work it out, okay? We'll work it out. We'll feed each other in between. How about that? All right, so let's take a breath. Our affirmation today is this: I mindfully fill my cup with the love of who I am. It's a simple one today. I mindfully fill my cup with the love of who I am. Let's take a breath. And we'll say it together a few times. I mindfully fill my cup with the love of who I am. Again. I mindfully fill my cup with the love of who I am. One more time. I mindfully fill my cup with the love of who I am. And so it is. Give yourselves a hand for being here today. We'll have a great service today.
Ready for one more song? Yeah. And it's by our very own Yolanda Williams. Oh, yeah.
Hey.
Beautiful, beautiful. Let's give it up one more time for Yolanda. And how about one more time for Penelope and all of our music ministry? How'd you like, is it Dozy? Dozzy Daniels. Dozzy, how'd you like Dozzy? Wow. Give him some love. I know he can hear it all the way to the airport. He can hear it. He's making it through security right now. He's doing just fine. We had Jamel up here earlier this afternoon. Original composition. Beautiful. You feel good? Yes. You look good. Yes. Amen. This is, thank you. This is a special weekend. I'm so glad we're talking about self-care because this is the weekend. Don't you love Facebook memories? Because it tells you where you were a year ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 10 years ago. You know, history started about 11 years ago when Facebook came around and started tracking your memories. That's when, that's how old your memory will be from now on. But it's just going to get longer. Amen. How about that? And so, you know, I know what happened a year ago, 4 years ago, and 4 years ago was the first weekend of June was the weekend that my family and I came. Patience and my son William. Josh was still in school, but we came to Atlanta as a family. You had already selected me and told me that you selected me, and I let people know in Oregon, and then we came here to speak and to introduce my family to you, to the community, and then to start looking for a home. And actually, DE's dear friend and realtor, Randy, helped us, drag us all over the place that weekend. But so this weekend, first weekend of June, we actually stopped by Pastor Don's birthday, a little drop-in surprise. And so this is a special weekend for me, for our community, and for everybody involved. And so for self-care, it's so important to kind of anchor ourselves, because we cannot give ourselves away to others unless we're filled up ourselves, unless we're taking care of ourselves, right? Amen. So we're going to break it down all month. Reverend Gene will be sharing with you next week. And I almost forgot, see? You ever changed everything up? And I'm like, oh, we've got to start our activating affirmations. So take a breath. So that's what we're going to do this week, starting with today. Take a breath. As you're feeling awake, go ahead and take a deep breath in and say, I am awake. I am awake. Oh, that's good. Tell your third eye, tell your chakras, tell every energy center of your being, inside and out, I am awake. I am awake. Good. And if you're awake, go ahead and take a breath in and make yourself available. Say, I am available. I am available. Available to insight and wisdom and transformation, to exactly what you need. You've already been receiving it through the music and the fellowship of this day. I am available. I am available. And as you're available, know that you are enough. There's nothing you need to do, nothing you need to change, nothing you need to add to yourself or take away. You are as you are, which is what spirit is. I am enough. I am enough. And if you're awake and available and enough, go ahead and affirm and know that you are ready. I am ready. I am ready. I am ready. There you go, ready. I love it. Yes, that's it. So as we launch into this self-care evolution this month. We'll talk about the many aspects of it. You know, it really kind of gained traction in the medical field in the 50s. They really started focusing on people's mental well-being and their patients as creating healthier habits and focusing on lifestyle and the mental aspect, etc. But it really began much earlier than that in the New Thought movement. Right? William James, a great philosopher, called New Thought the religion of healthy-mindedness. Right? What he meant by that was this is a group of people who focus on the health of their mindset. Right? Going all the way back to the 1880s, Phineas Parkhurst Quimby, the clockmaker from New England, sat people down after he saw the demonstrations being done by Charles Poyen, who was a student of Fran Anton Mesmer. That might sound familiar, came from mesmerism, hypnotism, and through that activity, what he saw was that there was something happening in the subconscious mind through hypnotism that he began to inquire, he being Quimby, well, what's really happening here in the law of mind? And what if the individual could be in charge of it rather than a third party, the hypnotist? What if I could control or activate that law that's happening in the subconscious? And the subconscious seems to receive the direct impress of a thought put into it without question, without evaluating it, without judging it, and acts upon it automatically. And so what if we, and he went to Scripture, he looked at the prayers of Jesus, he noticed that how Jesus had always asked permission, will you be made whole, are you willing, always engaging the individual in the process of their own healing. And so something began to grow in his insight and his study about this, that there's something about the quality of the mindset that directly relates to the physical healing and well-being. So beginning in 1860, he opened an office in New England and began sitting down with people and cultivating this method and practice. He took copious notes about all of his patients and his studies and his methodologies, and much of that fed into what we call the New Thought movement today. And it is anchored in this self-care idea that if you, which brings us to our to first principle about self-care. Oh, well, I'm missing over, just jumping over all kinds of stuff. Before we get to the first principle, the tools that we're going to use today is we're going to talk about the spiritual principle of self-care. The spiritual law that we're talking about today is the law of circulation, because what you get in is what you get out. Amen? And the spiritual practice I'm going to invite you into today is the practice of commitment. Commitment. So all of those come together in today's series on self-care. The law, the principle of self-care, the law of circulation, and the practice of commitment. And so all of that I said previously about Quimby and the studying of the mind, there is no self-care without the mind. There is no self-care without the mind. It starts with the mind. You can have all of the riches, all of the wealth, all of the physical attributes. You can have all of the healthy genes and everything else. But if your mind is toxic, it'll ruin all of those things. I like to say it this way. If you take care of the mind, it will take care of you. If you ignore the mind, it will undo you. The mind will undo you. You could have all the physical attributes of health and well-being. You could have the material aspects of wealth. You can have family, house, etc. But if your mind is toxic, it will undo all of those things. It will undo the idea that you have of you. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that when you have toxicity in your mind, that toxicity will go to work on the idea of you? It goes to work on it at night and in the morning and when you can't sleep and when you're in the shower, that chatter in the back of your mind constantly nagging and telling you that you're not good enough or not worthy or not this or not that or whatever it is, constantly gnawing away at the idea of you. Meanwhile, you work hard and furious to acquire and to appease and to get the right things and to get the degrees on the wall and to get the things that your mother said you should have and that your partner says you should have and that all the world says that you should be and all of these things. But that mind will keep eating away at the idea of you. Until finally you wrestle with it and you go, oh, it starts with the idea of who I am. Self-care is integral to our human experience, but our evolution depends on how well we take care of our mind. It begins with our mindset. And so affirmations are essential to that understanding. We say, as the great Reverend Ike used to say, whatever you add unto I am, gets added unto you. Right? It's the easiest way to remember the power of affirmations. He had a way of words, Reverend Ike. Right? Whatever you add unto I am gets added unto you. You say, I am sick. I am unworthy. I don't even want to keep going because I don't want cancel, erase. Get it off me. But if you say, I am healthy and wealthy and whole, I am prosperous, I am worthy, I am powerful, then those things begin to get added unto you, because you have to have the mindset first. You have to have the template in your mind so that the Spirit can fill those spaces. But it's not just the mindset. Have you noticed that you can't just sit there and you could do all the affirmations you want? Positive this, and I am this, and I am that. And if you just sit there and do nothing about it, I mean, it feels good. And there's a name for doing things that feel good that don't have, anyway. I know it's a New Thought church, but we're still going to behave ourselves. There is no self-care without action. So there's no self-care without the mind. You got to have the mindset right, but you also have to do something. You have to put it into action. You can't just watch exercise videos on TV late at night. That ain't going to get you. That ain't going to do it. Is it, D.E.? Nope. Got a Flow and Fitness health coach right here. I know he knows, right? That's not going to do it. That little guy on the what was that thing that I used to watch that? It didn't work. On the little stair thing. What was that thing?
Easy glider.
The Easy Glider. You can watch the Easy Glider all night long. You glide those cheeseburger sliders right down your... Ain't gonna do nothing, right? Got to take action. You got to get up. You got to put something into motion. That's why in the book of James, it says, faith without works is dead. You got to do something, even if it's a little something, to put it into motion. If you want, I remember when I was in St. Louis studying in ministerial school, and I knew the future and the work and the stuff that I wanted to do. I've told this story many times before, and I was wanting to step more into youth ministry and youth work, and I realized that all of my stuff, all of my books and research and things that I had done and whatnot to do youth ministry was all packed away. And I thought to myself, if somebody were to call me right now and put together a program, do something, do whatever, I wouldn't be able to. It was all somewhere in boxes and storage. And this idea that there's no self-care without action hit me, and I said, well, what if I went and got all that and I put it all out? Even though I wasn't doing that work at that time, I put it all out so I could see it every day. And lo and behold, not long after that is when I got the call to go to Oregon to be a full-time youth minister. Because I put it into action. I allowed myself to see every day. It was just a small action. But those small actions build up because you tell the universe what it is that you want. And so if self-care, right, if we put ourselves first and we say, I'm going to take this small action today. It's the walk. It's the choosing the right thing at the menu, at lunch or at dinner or whatever it is, or at the grocery store. It's doing the small things. You don't have to transform overnight. But it's doing the small things and being dedicated to that, which leads us to our next one. There is no self-care without commitment. Now, this is the hard part. We talked about the mind. The mind's got to be right. The action has to be there. Doesn't have to be big action, just has to be action. But the key is the commitment. The commitment to doing, if it's a small thing, seriously and consistently on a regular basis, right? And that's where, if the mindset isn't right, it'll get you, because you do something. And if you're like me, you'll probably do it big. You'll go out and you'll say, well, I need to start walking. And so you just go out and just do a 10K just right off the bat, you know? Wake up the next day, oh God, just that should have done it. But then the discipline isn't there in the mind, so then the mind begins to work and say, well, you can't do that all the time. You can't do it. What are you thinking? And blah, blah, blah. And so then you don't do nothing. Am I talking to anybody here? Right? So it's the commitment. I said this was a significant day because of where we started as a family 4 years ago here. This is also the same weekend that I was hired when I went to Oregon over 20 years ago to be a youth minister there. I moved the first weekend of June. My start date was July 1st, just like it is with SLCA. But my first weekend in town was the first weekend of June because it's Fleet Week for the Rose Festival, and I always remember that. And it shows up on my Facebook feed that it's Fleet Week for the Rose Festival. And we started our ministry after I was a youth minister. Then we started our ministry at around this same time of year, a little bit later. And we had this quote about commitment that was the consistent thing in our ministry, that our staff, we all had one framed, this quote in our offices and at home, etc. And it says this, it's from William Hutchinson Murray. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never have otherwise occurred. A whole stream of events issues from this decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no man could have dreamt would have come his way or her way. I have learned the great respect of this wisdom. Whatever you can do or dream that you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Commitment, you see. And it's not just commitment to the action, but if we want to know the real key to transformation on the self-care level, which applies to not only our physical well-being, but also as spiritual community, there's self-care of the community itself, right? You want to know the real key? Somebody say, yeah, let me have the real key. Let me have the real juice. The real juice today is this. Commitment means being dedicated to the hard things. Yeah, see, some of you wanted the sermon to stop about 30 seconds ago. That was real good, Rev. You should have stopped with that quote. And the commitment means dedication to the hard things. The hard things. You see, it wasn't easy. When we began my ministry in Oregon, it wasn't easy to come out of a $20 million debt scandal and start with a new group of people and to rebuild trust. Can you imagine taking the offering on the first Sunday after the... I don't have to imagine it. I was there. And we had to take it again and again and again. All the way through 17 years in that ministry until we bought our own building for $2 million. The demonstration that community made was one of trust in leadership, trust in what we were doing, trust in our vision and what we were about, to put money on the table again after what they had been through. That took dedication to the hard thing. We had to do work on forgiveness work. We had to do work on healing, all of that old story over and over and over again. We had to be dedicated to the hard thing. Like, I know you don't want to talk about this again, but we got to go there again. And so about every other week, I did a sermon on forgiveness for 2 years. For 2 years. And I said, really, a forgiveness sermon again, Rev? I said, yeah, a forgiveness sermon again. Why? Because I saw the offering last week. That's why. You know? And I found my voice in that ministry because I couldn't be afraid. Couldn't be afraid of people's projections of their fears and all of their other things. Because here's the thing, if you don't do forgiveness work, resentment blocks the path of love. Resentment blocks the path of anything good in your life. Resentment blocks the path of prosperity. So if you're not feeling prosperous, you're not feeling loved, you're not feeling in the divine flow of greater good in your life, if resentment is there, it's blocking that. Forgiveness cleanses that out. So the commitment to doing the hard thing, it wasn't easy to do that. It wasn't easy to talk about those things all the time, but we had to do it over and over and over again. It wasn't easy to build a ministry born of financial scandal, to build a budget from nothing, to buy a building, and to become, by the way, for the entire time that I was there as a tithing member to our parent organization, Centers for Spiritual Living, and I'd go to the convention every year, and I'd be invited into the top tithers dinner and program or whatever special thing they were doing as a ministry. And there were lots of churches bigger than us. I won't name them by name, but I could. But I don't work like that, you know that. They weren't there, but we were there because we were consistent with the practice. It wasn't easy to move across the country and start all over again, but we did. It wasn't easy in this community to sit with the board president and our finance director every week on Mondays. Mondays, Tuesdays? What day was that, Karen? What day we did that? Tuesday, she said. Clear as a bell. See how she remembered that? It wasn't easy to sit down every Tuesday and say, what bills are we going to pay this week? Which ones can we put off till next Sunday? I wonder how many people will come, how much will, because that's where we were at. We haven't had that meeting in a good long while, have we? No, we have not. But we were committed to the hard thing. Those weren't fun meetings to be in. But one of the other things we did in those meetings was we said, we're going to start tithing again. We're going to start tithing to CSL. We're going to start tithing to local communities here. We're going to start circulating however amount we can. When we're going to be committed to it. And one year we picked a certain percentage, and you know what? The board fell so in love with the practice, they said, you know what? Let's bump that up to the full 10%. What are we playing around with this? 1%, 2%, 3%, whatever we were doing at the time. I said, I just wanted the flow to begin to start. Turn on the faucet, get a drip going. It doesn't matter, that's the commitment. It's the mind first, action second, commitment third, and dedicated to the hard thing all the way through. The financial amount didn't matter, it was the commitment. Drip, drip, drip. Because when you have that steady commitment, what you are doing is telling the universe where you want the energy to go. You're telling the universe where the miracle can show up. You're telling the universe where the unprecedented and unbound and unfathomable miracle can happen. Because you said, I want to go in this direction. I will do this part. I will stay committed. I will be on this track. And then Spirit says, I'm going to blow your mind. I'm going to meet you not just halfway. I'm going to meet you all the way at the other end and show you something you never thought you'd see before. Commitment. Now, when you say to the universe, this is what I'm committed to, this is what, notice when I said committed to, I didn't say perfect, because very likely you won't be. There'll be times when the mind slips. There will be time when you falter. There will be times when you take a step back. But then you take a breath and you start again with the mind. You do the forgiveness work to get whatever the resentment block out of the way. And you start with the small action again, put the commitment in place, and you start all over again. Why? Because that's the law of circulation. The commitment is what you put out, and the universe decides not only to match you, but to double down, overflowing. Are you hearing what I'm saying today? So we begin this series on self-care with the idea that there is no self-care without the mind. So we begin with a healthy mindfulness about who we are, to see ourselves worthy. You have to see yourself worthy. It doesn't matter what you do in the action or the commitment if you don't first see yourself worthy. Because that mindset will undo everything if you don't have it in place. So the mind comes first. I am whole, perfect, and complete. I am worthy of love. I am a vessel of dynamic health and fulfillment. All of these things you begin to anchor every day. Whatever you add unto I am gets added unto you. You anchor yourself in the mindset. And then you commit to an action and take that step. There's a beautiful poem about self-care by Jane Morris. It goes like this. If I care for me, then I care for you. If I care for me, then I can teach you how to better care for yourself. If you care for you, then you can teach others how to treat you. If you care for you, then you can give others permission to care for themselves. If others care for themselves, then they start to care for each other. If others care for each other, then they start to care for the planet. If we all care for ourselves, each other, and our planet, then we create the kind of change that builds a positive future for our children. It all starts with self-care. Self-care is not selfish, it's revolutionary. And so we're going to anchor ourselves this month in the practices of self-care and the activities that we have in the afternoons here for you, in the messages, in everything that we're doing, so that we can begin to build a better world because we have first built a healthy vessel in mind, body, and spirit right here. Take a breath with me. So we move into prayer. And so that great spiritual practice that began so long ago, that was stumbled upon by Phineas Parkhurst Quimby and cultivated by the likes of Mary Baker Eddy and Emma Curtis Hopkins and Ernest Holmes and the Fillmores and so many other luminaries, this dynamic wisdom that they saw in the ancient scriptures. They saw it in the Hindu scriptures. They saw it in the teachings of Buddha. They saw it most definitely in the healing practices of Jesus the Christ. The affirmative prayer, the prayer that states in the affirmative, in the present tense, in the already done mindset, the desire of the soul. Anchored simply with the affirmation, I am. The original sound of creation. Who should I say sent me? Tell him, I am sent you. The essence of the universe itself. We anchor into that awareness that there is a divine presence, a divine energy, a divine intelligence greater than we are. And we use it and we direct it through the power of our mind. And therefore, in this space, we simply breathe, I am. I am. And whatever it is that our heart desires to fill after that, that we know for ourselves that we are worthy, that we are capable, that we are loved, that we are enough, that we are able, that we are ready, that we have all that we need, that we are filled with self-love, pressed down and overflowing. Oh, I love me some me. And I invite you to love you some you. Love it fully and completely, such that the love becomes transformative. Heals the planet, because other people want to be with somebody who's shining so, who's loving themselves so, who's taking such good care of themselves. Oh, I can feel it. I'm grateful for it. I know that it's happening right here and right now, and it's creating vessels of wholeness throughout this sanctuary and throughout the sound of my voice, that it's reaching on the internet, everybody who is watching now and in the future, echoing forever into the atmosphere of consciousness. I am the I am. Whole, perfect, and complete, and I fill my cup with the love of who I am. I mindfully fill my cup with the love of who I am. Let's affirm it again together. I mindfully fill my cup with the love of who I am. One more time. I mindfully fill my cup with the love of who I am. And so it is. And so we let it be. Ashe, amen. Thank you. Peace and blessings. Thank you. All right. Are you happy you came today? Yeah. Listen, I'm not standing here trying to take all that in. They've changed my assignments. I do the offering now, so you keep clapping, but eventually I'm going to get you to reach for your wallets, purses, and checks. Pastor, you want to say anything? You want to say a word? Come on. As you get your tithes and offerings ready, I want to bring D.E. up and let him love on you a little bit as we love on him and your father. Happy 85th birthday.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Welcome to your new home.
Yes.
And congratulations. I've learned in the journey that home is where your mind is. Home is where your consciousness is. And so as Jesus would remind us, our bodies, our mind, our consciousness is the temple of spirit. I met Reverend David at an interesting time in my journey. I didn't know what I was. I was raised Pentecostal, evangelical, Christian, tongue-talking, come on, devil-stomping, sin-hating, Bible-thumping, quickening, come on, Yibobo Shanda, yeah. And then I started seeing spirit in other places like Hinduism and Buddhism, and so I didn't know what to call it. At first I just said I'm an allist. I didn't know the word universalist.
Right.
And so then I was introduced to Baha'i, and I said, no, I'm Baha'i. And then I was introduced to Zen. No, I'm Zen, I'm Taoist. And finally, I was introduced to myself.
Hey!
And I said, I am that I am.
I am that I am. That's it.
But it's because of your love, because of who you guys are, that we can be who we are.
Amen.
And so you have lovingly helped us to introduce us to more ways of thinking and to broader consciousness. Thank you for that. I want to say one thing, I'll get out of your way. We sing a song at Spirit and Truth that was appropriate to your message today. I love myself so much.
We know it.
Come on.
We know it. That's a classic. That's the New Thought
That I
classic.
can love you so much.
I was raised on that song.
Can I get a witness? So you can love you so much.
So
It's
much.
really
So that you
selfish.
can
So
start
you can
loving
finally
me.
start
You
loving
can
me.
love
Hey,
so much.
everybody say yes, yeah.
Thank you. Woo.
All right.
Thank you, brother. You see, when we get together, it's a good time. You can tell that already, can't you? All right, let's take, as you take out your tithes and offerings, again, doing it a little bit differently. There are boxes, if you will, to drop your donation in on your exit, or you can scan the QR code. Many of you are already set up to do it automatically online, and we appreciate that. So feel free to, if you got something physical to drop in the basket, you can, or in the boxes, as it were, do that on your way out. And whatever form it takes, we have the text to give, 404-800-9467, or on the web, slca.com/donations. And we're grateful for it. You have made this moment possible. You've made this day possible. We moved through those meetings of looking at what we were going to pay and what we were going to put off and not pay and all of those things. And we're done with that. That's behind us now. We dedicated ourselves to the hard thing. We circulate and tithe 10% out. We give back to Centers for Spiritual Living. We give locally to other agencies here in the greater Atlanta area. We participate in celebrating our good and sharing it with others. We're making a difference, and that's because you are participating in this moment in the service in whatever way that you choose to, in the way that feels good on your heart. So thank you. We're grateful for it. As we hold those gifts in our hands, let's bring up our giving affirmation. There it is. I think. Yes. Let's say it together. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is, and so we are. Thank you. Peace and blessings.
Ooh. Hi, everybody. All you beautiful minds. Yes. Hi, Ellen. My name's Mally Lapitte, and my pronouns are she and her. And I gladly serve on the SLCA Creative Arts team here at SLCA. Got a couple of announcements. Is it your first time being here at
SLCA, please stand or raise your hand so we can acknowledge you. All right. That's right, yes. A member of our team would like to give you a welcome card. Take a moment to return it. Take a moment to fill it out and then return the additional card to a welcome ambassador in the lobby after the service for a special gift. Welcome, you belong. For those of you that want to know more about our center or how to become a member, please connect with a member of our welcome team after service in the lobby or online. We have so many great opportunities here to connect, grow, serve, and give. For more information about today's announcements and other opportunities, there's more. Please scan the QR code found on your monitor. So many things have been happening in our world that leave us with more questions than answers. Agreed. Join us today from 5 to 6 p.m. in the sanctuary for a self-care for peace and justice workshop with Reverend David Alexander and licensed professional counselor and SLCA practitioner Tony Jenkins. We are happy to team up with you, UCA, for our Pet and People Food Drive. Bring your unopened pet food and non-perishable people food to the parking lot next Saturday, June 11th, from 10 to 11, or from 12 to 1, and a volunteer will be ready to help you unload. All right. Now that's Uber Eats. Please remember. Yeah. Remember, we're unable to accept any glass containers. There's more. Have you checked your newthoughtheducation.com website lately? There are some wonderful on-demand classes waiting for you. Since it is Self-Care Month, why not treat yourself to Reverend Cynthia James' Self-Care Mastery course? We recently added a wonderful class offered by CSL practitioner Eugene Holden, where you can find and gain a deeper understanding of the creative power behind the science and art of prayer. Who doesn't need that? If you're interested in serving on our Welcome and Hospitality team, and I know you are, or any of our other teams, there's more, we would love to have you help. Please see a member of our Welcome team in the lobby to find out more after the service. I dare you. Will all practitioners please make yourself known in person and in the online chat now to be recognized? Yes, hello. Thank you so much. Yes. We welcome each of you in need of prayer to remain in the room or to reach out to the practitioner online for one-on-one prayer with a licensed practitioner. In-person practitioners will be sitting in chairs in the back of the sanctuary after the service today. Thank you for joining us this morning. You belong. And now Penelope's gonna dance us out.
So there we go. And as soon as we get that keyboard up and running, we'll be good to go. One more patch. One more patch. There we go. Yeah. Come on. Come on. Stand up with me. We envision a world that works for everyone and for all of creation. We see all people, all beings as expressions of God. We see a world that works for everyone. We envision a world that works for everyone and for all of creation. We see all people, all beings as expressions of God. We see a world that works for everyone. We see a world that works for everyone. Yeah, we do. We see a world that works for everyone. 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 Make sure you stay with us. We got hospitality and another event this afternoon. Yeah. Have a great day, everybody. Everyone. And we have a group photo just outside if you want to join us with Arthur. A group photo. Yeah.